Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you. I'm Judith Singer. I'm the Senior Vice Provost for Faculty Development and Diversity, and I'm also a Professor of Statistics here at the Graduate School of Education. And on behalf of the entire university, we want to welcome all of you, each of you, to this One Harvard Graduate Student Recruiting event. This is a very exciting opportunity for us, and we hope you think it's a very exciting opportunity for you. What we've been doing today is trying to introduce you not just to the particular school that you've been admitted to or the particular program you've been admitted to at Harvard, but the notion that Harvard is trying to band together to be one university, hence the name, the One Harvard Graduate Recruiting Event, so that when you come here to Harvard University or you come to your particular school, and we have every school represented here, that you can take advantage of the full offerings of Harvard University as you begin your graduate studies or continue your graduate studies in some cases, and as you eventually launch yourselves onto your professional careers. I want to say a few words about the history of this event, which is incredibly short, and then I'm also going to say a few words about my own personal journey here at Harvard in the hopes of giving you a sense of what Harvard can actually do for you. And then I will introduce our panelists, and each of them will also talk about their own personal story at Harvard. So let me say a few words about the history of the event. This is a very historic year at Harvard. It's the 375th anniversary of Harvard University. It's the oldest university in America, and we take great pride in celebrating our 375th anniversary as being the first university in America and the place in which undergraduate study and then graduate study sort of came to the fore. It's a pretty good brand. I can say that no matter where you go around the world, you will get name recognition if you choose to take our offer admission. But this event is 16 months old. So contrast 375 years with 16 months, and that can tell you something. It really does tell you something. So the origins of this event are rather interesting, or at least they're interesting to me. Drew Faust, the president of Harvard, last fall asked me to facilitate a conversation at the Council of Deans. That's the meeting that's held monthly of all the deans of the schools at Harvard University. And the focus of the conversation was to be about faculty diversity, which is a big part of my portfolio. How do we make the faculty of Harvard University look like the student body of Harvard University? And we work really hard at it, but I can tell you honestly, there's a little bit of a mismatch. And I had teed up a number of deans to talk about what they were doing on their faculty, with their faculty, about diversifying their faculty. And what was very interesting about the comments that were made was that although I had asked them to talk about faculty diversity, inevitably every single dean found him or herself talking also about student diversity and the inextricable links between student diversity and faculty diversity. And although most of the people here are not staff, there are some staff here, I will also say they also talked about the inextricable links between faculty diversity, student diversity, and staff diversity. That this is not just a matter of cosmetics, this is not just a matter of bean counting, but it's a matter of creating an organization where people feel welcome, where diverse views are welcome, where people can learn from commonality and people can also learn from difference. And it was an incredible conversation. So it was in early December of 2010, right before the president's annual holiday party. And at the president's holiday party, I started shopping an idea around. And the idea was, you had all talked about the inextricable links between faculty diversity and student diversity. Would the university be interested in coming together to try to present to the prospective students, you, what Harvard could be? And could we possibly do something we had never done before, which was hold a graduate student recruiting event that was not just at the individual school level, which we had always had done, and we even had done in many of the schools events that were particularly oriented towards underrepresented minority students or students who had historically not been represented in higher education. But what we had never done was try to do this at the university level. And much to my pleasure at this party. I shopped the idea around, and dean after dean said, gee, that's a sort of no-brainer. And so last year, with a scramble and with great thanks to the deans of admissions and the deans of student affairs at the schools, and I have to say with great thanks to the team in faculty development and diversity, in particular Lisa Cariaga-Lowe, who's standing there quietly at the side, who has made all of this happen, along with others in my office, Jill Larson, Broga Korshid, who have really made this all happen. We pulled this off on very short notice last year. And one of the things that we learned in doing it was the opportunity to meet people from across the university is so precious, and people so enjoy it, that the student volunteers who helped us, and then some of the students who were actually sitting in your seats last year, found themselves saying, this is a place I could see myself studying. This is a place I would like to launch my career. And so we were able to pull it off last year. Dean Nithanoria from the business school graciously invited us into his home in the fall. We had another event in the fall, and I'm pleased to say that we now have the second annual One Harvard graduate student recruiting event. So 375, second annual, they're sort of the same, 375, roughly, that approximately equals thing. So I'm very pleased to say that we've managed to pull it off, and I think once you do, by induction, you do one, you do two, I think this will just take off as the future. Before introducing the panelists and turning it over to them, I want to say a few personal words about my time at Harvard. I, like everybody at the panel, have an unusual feature. The panel has been selected by popular demand by our current students to have two particular features. One is every one of us is a faculty member at Harvard University. But the second is every one of us is an alum of Harvard University. We all chose to come here for graduate study. And I think that the sense of being on the faculty at Harvard, but also having made the decision, having been in your seats, every single person in this room, we want you. We just admitted you. This is not an event where we're trying to get you to apply. This is an event where we're trying to get you to come here. And that's a pretty easy sell from our side, because we have vetted you. We want you. And what we're going to try to do in the next hour and change is to try to explain to you what coming to Harvard can do for you, and why we chose to make the decisions we did some number of years ago. And as you can see, some of us on the panel have gray hair, and some of us on the panel don't have gray hair. I will also say that one of the people on the panel was one of my students, and we'll invite you to guess which one. And you might learn along the way, and it might surprise you. I will say a few words about my personal story. I was thinking about this as I was walking in. I started graduate school before many of you were born. I came here as a doctoral student in the statistics department in 1976. And if someone had told me in 1975-76, the year I graduated from college, that I would be the senior vice provost of Harvard University with an endowed chair and all of these other things, in the parlance of the 70s, I would have said, you must have been smoking something. It is pretty mind-numbing to me to think. I am a product of the New York City public schools. My grandparents were all immigrants. Several of them did not speak English. My parents did go to college. I'm not a first-generation college student. My parents did go to college, to City College in New York. They bought a house on the subway line, actually on the bus route to Brooklyn College, so I could go to Brooklyn College, which was the aspiration, so that I could be a junior high school math teacher, which is what my mother was. That's what girls did. My dad was an accountant. Girls didn't become accountants, they became math teachers. I went to SUNY Albany as an undergraduate, and I was destined to be a middle school math teacher. And I remember going home my freshman year of college and saying, I'm taking all these math classes, and they're like, what are you gonna do with it? Now, at that time, it was actually sort of cool that my parents thought I wanted to do something with it. Okay, you have to understand that. And they said, well, you better get your teaching certification, because that's what you're going to do. That's what the jobs are available to you. And I said, well, I'm not sure I want to teach. That was really stupid. I love teaching. But I'm not sure I want to teach. And And when I took an education class, and I came back and I said, no, I think I actually want to go on to get a graduate degree. And they're like, what? I mean, they had no idea what it meant to go to graduate school. It was not something they could understand. They understood going to college. That they could get their heads around. But getting a graduate degree, and what do you get with a graduate degree? And to this day, my mother still says, you're not a real doctor. It is a little bit of a challenge to get your problem space around that. And I remember I sort of continued taking classes, and at some point I decided I wanted to go I actually applied for a master's degree. I didn't understand that you actually had to apply for a doctoral degree in the Faculty of Arts and Sciences, so I just applied for a master's degree, and they admitted me to the doctoral program. So I just sort of, I had no way of understanding. I was admitted. I had 3 offers that were very attractive. Harvard was the least financially lucrative of the 3. And there are some things about Harvard that change. This event is one that changes. And then there are some things about Harvard that doesn't change. We still don't offer the most lucrative offers. But I was trying to weigh the University of Chicago and Johns Hopkins against Harvard. And I came here, and I met the graduate students in my department, and somebody took me aside and said, and this is what I'm going to say to you, what somebody said to me many years ago, you've got some great opportunities. The schools you've been admitted to are really wonderful, so I'm not going to say anything that criticizes any of the other schools, and I would not say that about any of the other schools to which you've been admitted. If we've admitted you, I can guarantee you've got other offers. But what this person said to me, and I'll never forget it, is, when you come here, you're going to get on a different conveyor belt. And that conveyor belt will stay with you for the rest of your life. And it's not to say there aren't wonderful schools out there, and it's not to say what we do to you when you're here isn't part of what happens to you. But what happens to you when you step on our conveyor belt is unlike anything imaginable. It will stay with you for the rest of your lives. I would like to think you'd choose to come here because of what we offer, and we'll spend a lot of time talking about what we offer. But honestly, the Harvard name opens doors, and that is a reason to come here beyond any particular aspects of the program to which you've been admitted, a faculty member with whom you want to study, the students who you will be studying with, who I have to say sometimes blow me away more than my faculty colleagues. I shouldn't be saying, that's taped, sorry. Can you cut that part out? I just want to say that this is really an incredible place, and this event that we're doing now for the 2nd year in a row, and I hope that we will continue, in fact I'm confident we will continue to do for the future. We want you to come here. We want you to study here. We want you to do fabulous things, and then we want you to go out in the world and do us proud. And that's really what this is all about. So I'm now going to introduce my faculty colleagues over here, and they are going to go in order from right to left. So let me start with my colleague in the Graduate School of Education, Natasha Warriku, who is an assistant professor of education in the Graduate School of Education and who has her PhD from the sociology department here at Harvard. Next to Natasha is George Alvarez, who is an assistant professor of psychology. I've already said something that offended you? Ooh. George Alvarez, who's an assistant professor of psychology in the Faculty of Arts and Sciences and who also did his PhD in the psychology department in the Faculty of Arts and Sciences. Cassandra Okechekwu, who is an assistant professor of society, health, and human development in the School of Public Health and who did her doctorate in the School of Public Health. And then Marshall Gans, senior lecturer in public policy at the Harvard Kennedy School, who did his PhD in sociology in the Faculty of Arts and Sciences, correct? Okay, so each of them is going to talk to you about why they chose to come to Harvard, the implications of coming to Harvard for graduate school and what it meant for them, what Harvard can offer you, what Cambridge and Boston can offer you. And then after each of them makes about 10 minutes of remarks, we are videotaping this event, but we will not videotape the question and answer session. So we want to not videotape that so you can ask whatever you want to say, and we hope to give you very frank and honest answers. So let me start with Natasha. Why don't you come up here?